yeah. Kingdom citizen. Kingdom citizen. Kingdom citizen. Yeah, yeah. Kingdom citizen. Of Wisconsin. Kingdom citizen. Kingdom citizen. Yeah, yeah. Kingdom citizen. Blessings, everybody. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Thank you for tuning in to Kingdom Citizens of Wisconsin Friday Night Talk. We're going to have a glorious time on tonight. We're going to talk about some of everything. I'm excited. I just want to send out a few tags. And as you come in on, please share, tag someone. Let's get this going because we're going to talk about some of everything tonight. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's watching, that's coming on. I got my coffee tonight. I'm ready for tonight. I'm ready for Friday Night Talk, and so I am excited about being on and with you guys tonight. Hey, Matt, bless you, sir. So why don't y'all hit that share button and share with other people? Let them come on tonight. Kingdom Citizens of Wisconsin Friday Night Talk. Want to talk about a couple of things. We know that Tuesday is the day that we have to make sure those who haven't voted early get out and vote, and make sure that we do our due diligently in voting on this Tuesday coming up. And so it's great to be here tonight, and there's a couple of things that, like I said, I want to talk about. We know voting is coming up. We need to get the people to the polls. We need to educate the people, let them understand what's really going on out in the world today and out in Wisconsin. And one of the things that scares me is we got people that are literally pushing the election, and majority of the people don't even know what a Supreme Court judge do. And so we got to do better job in educating people, not scaring people, not trying to manipulate people into voting, but we have to. Oh, wow. Tornado in Jefferson County. We're praying that that tornado will pass you guys by in the name of Jesus. It will not touch any houses in Jefferson County. In the name of Jesus, we decree and declare everybody is safe up in Lake Mills in Jefferson County in Jesus' name. Amen, amen, and amen. And so we're praying, and those of you, I hope you are at home and you are safe from all the stuff that's going on right now. But I want to start off with a question, and that question is, why is the church compromising just to be recognized by the world? The church have compromised so much. Our standard, our culture, we have compromised our relationship with God, just to be acknowledged in the political arena or just in the world, period. And I'm watching it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, to the fact where during the pandemic, I watched churches shut down because government told the church to shut down. And then after the government got the church to shut down, I watched church open up and become a testing site for the government. And I'm sitting there like, why would we surrender our rights to government and then open up our churches for back COVID centers? And you was not allowed to open up to have prayer, to have worship, to encourage the congregation, to pray with the congregation and their families. You was not allowed to do anything of that nature. You was not allowed to do any kind of worship, but then you was allowed to open up and allow people in to be tested. So we are starting to compromise so much of the things of God to please man and to be recognized by the world. And that is scary because of the fact that you have pastors that are pushing Lord Jesus, Janet, I believe, say I don't lost her name, but she's running for Supreme Court judge. Pastors pushing her and knowing all the things that she stands for versus the things that they claim they stand for when it comes to representing God. And listen, I want you guys to understand, I am not here to judge anybody's lifestyle. I'm here to stand on the word of God. God loves everybody. He hates everybody's sin. Even those that belong to God have sin and that are wicked. That is why Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14 says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, he says, then will I hear from heaven. So what is he saying? He said, those that even belong to him have wicked ways. But he said, if we would turn from our wicked ways, he said, then will I hear from heaven. I will forgive their sins and heal their land. Our land will not get healed until we turn. Our land will not get healed until we seek God first. And we see the results of what's happening when there is no God. We see in the leadership of Wisconsin, the leadership of Milwaukee, when God is not the center, we see what's happening. We see what's happening in our schools, and not just in Milwaukee, all over this country. We see what's happening in government without God all over this country. We see what's happening with families without God all over this country. We see what's happening with every aspect of our lives when there is no God. And so the Bible also says, blessed is the nation who God is Lord. And so what we have done as a church, we have lowered our standard. We have lowered the standards just to go along to get along. We lowered our standards that we have given up our spiritual birthrights for a bowl of soup. We have sold ourselves to the highest bidder. If the Democrats going to give us some money, we'll sell ourselves to the Democrats. If the Republican going to give us some money, we'll sell ourselves to the Republicans. But how can you sell yourself if you already been brought with a price? How is it that we can sell ourselves if we have already been brought with a price? We have been brought with a price. That means I don't belong to myself anymore. You got pastors out here that is urging people to vote for a particular party. You got pastors out here who won't walk the streets to tell people about Jesus, but they would do a rally called Souls to the Polls to get people to vote. It got to be the dollar. That's the only answer. They're being paid to get you to the poll to push their agenda. And you know, they say a lot of things is nonpartisan, but it's partisan. And you see it when they go around hollering souls to the poll, but only people they have around them are Democrats, Democrat candidates. So we have, and why am I going this way tonight? The reason I'm going this way tonight is because it's the church whose God has ordained to set the standard. And I'm not saying it in a religious way. I'm saying it from a kingdom standpoint. It is the kingdom citizens, the agents of change, the ecclesia, the body of diplomat officials. It is our job to set the standard on everything that's out here. It was the church job to do the social service. It was the church job to do the education. It was the church job to do the welfare. It was the church job to take care of the homeless. It was the church job to feed those that are hungry. Because why? Jesus said, if you do it to the least, you're doing it unto me. It was our job. We turned those jobs over to the government. We turned those jobs. We turned the social service job over to the government. We turned the welfare system. Our job is to take care of the widows and the orphans. That's our job as the church. Our job is to visit those in prison. Our job is to clothe the naked, not have a rummage sale. Our job is to feed the hungry, not have a bake sale or a chicken dinner sale. That's our job. And we have failed. We have failed to lead. We have failed to let our light shine. We have failed to set the standard in our communities. We failed. And everything is about the dollar. And so as we look at everything that's going on, as we look at, hey, Pastor Walker, how's it going? As we look at everything that's going on, as we look at, we compromise so much, you got people that don't even want to go to church anymore. You got people that's looking for something that's lining up with their lifestyle instead of bringing them up to the standard that God has for them. Jeremiah 29, God says, I know the plan. Let's go there tonight. Let's go to Jeremiah tonight. In Jeremiah 29, in verse 11, he says, for I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you, said the Lord. Thoughts and plan for welfare and peace, not for evil, to give you hope in your final outcome. God says, I already know my plan that I have for you. God says, I understand the plan that I have for you. And so God's plan is for us not to sell him out. God's plan is for us not to compromise. God's plan is not for us to water down our lifestyle to fit in or to go along to get along. But we don't understand the plan of God for our lives. We don't understand what God is really saying to us. We don't understand the things that God requires of us as individuals. Well, let's look at verse 12, because we all read Jeremiah 29 and 11, and we stop right there. God know the plan to prosper me. One translation says, plan to prosper me. So in other words, we need to look at this thing from a different perspective, and we need to read more than just one scripture. Verse 12 says, then you will call upon me, and I will come. And he said, then you will call upon me, and you will come and pray to me, and I will hear and heed you. He said, then you will come and pray. You have to really have a desire for God. You have to really have a desire to know the plan of God. You have to really have a desire to say, okay, God, you brought me to this earth. What is my assignment on this earth? And my assignment is not to sell out. My assignment is not to do things just to go along to get along. So how will I understand your plan, God? He says, this is how you will understand it. He says, you will call on me and you will come and pray to me, and I will hear and heed you. So God said, you will come, you will call, you will come, and you will petition me. That word prayer also means petition. So he said, you will come and you will petition me. You will come and you will pray to me. And then he says, then you will seek me, inquire for and require me as a vital necessity, and find me when you search for me with all your heart. God said, you're going to pray, but then you got to seek. You got to seek me. You got to want me. You got to know me. You got to understand what I'm saying about your life. And see, the biggest problem we have is, and I was having a conversation earlier with a lady, and in that conversation, we got to talking about both parties, and one party was supposed to be for God and everything. And I says, they're not for God just because they say his name. I said, the Bible teaches us we'll know them by the fruit they bear. And if you're not bearing the fruit of God, not just because you use the lingo, that's why you got people calling some Republican rhino, because they know the lingo, but they don't act like a Republican, right? So you got people who know the lingo, who can use the word God and quote a scripture, and they can do all kind of things. But at the end of the day, do their life line up with what they're claiming to be? Are they doing things in a way that is going to hinder and hurt us instead of being a blessing unto us? God said, you will seek me. Seek me. I'm going to really seek you, God. I'm going to crave after you, God. I'm going to desire you, God. I am going to be what you are calling on me to be, but I can't do it without seeking you. I can't live righteous without seeking you to understand what righteousness is. I can't seek after you and do things knowing that I don't know what's going on. And see, the biggest problem we have is we sit in our church, and if we really understood the will of God, you won't be a bench warmer. You'll be out here as an agent of change, making a difference in lives, making a difference in our communities, in our cities, in our states. We will be making a difference if we understood what God is saying to us. And so what the biggest problem that we have, hey, how you doing? I need that email, ma'am. I love you. So we have to look at this thing for what it really is. And see, the biggest problem we have now, the reason society is in the way that it is, and the reason society is so bad, and the reason we have to say when it's election time that we have to vote for the lesser of two evils, because nobody righteous will rise up. Nobody righteous will run for office. Nobody righteous is willing to stand up for righteousness. That's why we always voting for the lesser of two evils. That's why we're doing the things that we're doing, and we're not lining up with the word of God. That's why we have sex trafficking so big, because most churches don't want to talk about sex trafficking. That's why you have domestic violence, because a lot of churches don't want to talk about domestic violence. That's why you got a bunch of churches that don't even want to talk about sex. And then you get mad because the schools is talking about sex, but the church don't want to talk about sex. The church don't want to talk about gender. The church don't want to talk about what's right and what's not right. The church will hide in them four walls, and they will say it among themselves, but they would never stand up and say enough is enough. The churches won't stand out of the four wall and introduce themselves to the community. So how do the community know that you're going to be there to help them? It is our job to be involved in politics. It is our job to be involved in education. It is our job to be involved in arts and entertainment. It is our job to be involved in media. It is our job to be involved in family. It is our job to be involved in religion. And it's our job to be involved in business. We should be involved in every aspect of our lives. And if we are involved, then we start making some decisions. And if we're making decisions by the fear of God, then we will never have to worry about dealing with immorality as much as we're dealing with it right now. We will never have to worry about things that are going on right now that should never be going on. We should never have to be worrying about, abortion issues the way they're talking about abortions right now. And I know a lot of people say it's her body, she can make choices and all of that. But you know what? Let me say it this way. I think if a woman is going to get an abortion, she should have 2 consultations. I don't believe in abortions at all. But I think a woman should have a conversation with a woman that has had an abortion, that is messing up her mind. And some days she's trying to figure out what that child would be, what that child would look like, would have been a boy or a girl. Do God forgive me? Because there's so many women that's messed up in their mind after they had an abortion because they don't tell them that there's a mental effect with them, right? The second part of that consultation is I think they should make a woman sit there and watch an abortion take place. I think they should be able to watch one and see what really goes on, to see that other body being destroyed. I think they should be able to see that, because I believe if they start to see those kind of things and have those kind of conversations, they wouldn't want an abortion. And we know under 1% of abortion dealing with health, rape, and incest. Under 1%. But they take this and they push it in your face and they make it a political issue on this because everybody have a right. And we holler, my body, my choice when it comes to abortion, but it's not my body, my choice when it comes to taking the carrot. Everybody, they want to force to have the carrot. So my body, my choice is out of the window. It's only my body, my choice when it comes to an abortion. And again, it takes us out of the will of God. And the reason that a lot of churches is not standing up and speaking on this is because they have already compromised. They already had took the 30 pieces of silver to be quiet on these kind of issues. Everybody knows having sex, the job of having sex is to reproduce life. And so if you don't want a child, don't have sex. And y'all probably saying, is you crazy? Sex feel good. We know y'all like sex and you enjoy sex. But you got to understand what happens when you have sex. It does its job. It's there to produce. It's there to bring forth life. It's there to, that's what its original job is to do. It's not there for you to indulge in it and all of a sudden you feel good. And now all of a sudden that you're feeling good, now you want to get rid of the evidence of you feeling good. No, it's not by accident. It's by design. It is by design. It was created by Margaret Sanger, and it was to black genocide the black community. And when you look at who's in bed with Planned Parenthood, same ones who saying they need to stop black genocides are in bed with Planned Parenthood. So it's because we're not educated. But if we start to seek God, God would give us answers to every problem that every city, every county, and every state faces, if we will seek the face of God. And I'm not talking about being religious. I'm not talking about doing it a Baptist way or Church of God in Christ way or Catholic way or Lutheran way or Methodist way or Church of God or Assembly of God or Church of Christ or Seventh-day Adventist. I ain't talking like that. Joseph saved a nation because God gave him wisdom on what to do before the famine came. Daniel was a governor, and the area of that Daniel was in charge, it prospered. So God will give you what you need at that time to bring you out of different situations. And if you don't have a man or a woman of God in these positions that they can hear from God to come up to come forth with the solution to the problems, then it's not going to get done. It is not going to be taken care of. We see it all the time. Our battle is not flesh and blood. Our battle is not Democrat, Republicans, Libertarians, Independents. Our battle is against principalities and powers and rulers. Our battle is a spiritual battle. It's not a natural battle. We don't battle Democrats or Republicans. We don't battle black versus white. We don't battle rich versus poor. All of these battles that we deal with is spiritual battles. Everything that's going on that is immoral, it's a spiritual battle. So we're dealing with things from a spiritual standpoint, not just a natural standpoint. And see, the problem that we having right now is everybody is trying to solve the problem from a natural standpoint, not a spiritual one. These are spiritual problems. That's why naturally you can't figure it out. That's why naturally you see people trying to come up with solution. All the data that they got from all the research, the resources, the researching that they've done, out of all the researching that they have done, they still don't come up with the answer. They still don't know what to do. They still trying to figure out how to stop this and stop that, because they're trying to fight a spiritual battle with carnal weapons. It won't work. It won't work. The Bible teaches us it starts from the head. So if the head is not connected to God, if the head is not in right relationship with God, is the head compromising already the things of God? If the head already done committed spiritual adultery against God, then it trickles down. It don't go up, it comes down. And so what end up happening is when you have people that are not connected to God, I didn't say people that go to church, because a lot of people go to church, but a lot of people still is not connected to God that go to church. But you need a God-fearing man or woman that is connected to God, that can hear from God, that the wisdom of God will come down and give them downloads and revelation on what to do with these situations and what's going on. And as we see on a daily basis, we see things happening and we wondering why it won't stop. You see people mourning. You see people crying. It's just like when the children of Israel was in bondage. God heard they cry. He heard the cry of the people, just like he hear the cry now. But those of us who's supposed to be in place are not in place. So he can't do what he really want to do for the people until his church, his ecclesia get in place to do what they are supposed to do. And the biggest problem with that is we're not in place. We're afraid to get in place because you getting in place is going to go against what's going on right now. If you get in place, it's going to go against what you do, what's going on right now. And so as we look at things that are going on, as we try to figure out how to make it better, the way we make it better is by the way of us trusting in God and doing it the way God wanted done. The Bible says this, in all thy ways acknowledge, and he will direct your path. All right, I'm going to take a 30-second break real quick because I have to do something. I'll be back in 30. I am back. And as we go forward, J. Rod, it's good to see you, sir. J. Rod is in the house. And the thing that we have to understand and realize is that we have to get things right. Uh-oh, my light went out. Give me a second. I'll turn that one on. How's that? No, that is not going to do it. All right. There we go. All right, I'm back. I had a little technical difficulty. I'm back now. So, the one of the things that we have to look at and understand and realize is we have to make it up in our mind. I read a book called You Can't Go Wrong by Doing Right by Robert Brown. And Robert was in the cabinet of Nixon. Catch you up? Well, we just talking and one of the things that I was talking about, J. Rod, and let me know if you want to come on, I can send you the link. I would love to have you come on with me right quick and talk. But one of the things that we have to do as the people who claim to be with God, people who say they love the Lord or go to church, is we have to stop compromising. And that's what I'm saying, because we compromise so much just to go along, to get along. We doing things that is out of character. We say one thing and we end up doing something else. So people lose faith, people lose trust, not only in the church, but in individuals, because we have people that will lie just to get in office. And then we have people that will lie just to get their friends in office. So, it's so much that's going on right now that we're losing our normal lifestyle and accepting something that they're calling the new norm. There is no new norm. We need to go back to normalcy. We need to go back to what we are used to and what works for us. And so, as individuals, we have to ask ourselves, what do you stand on? What do you really believe in? And we was in a barbershop yesterday, and I was called to the barbershop. They was having a conversation about the election, both parties, and so we had this conversation going on yesterday in the barbershop. And one of the things that I shared with them in the barbershop is this: you guys are only going off what somebody said on TV. You guys are only going on what you see, whatever party knocks on your door to push an agenda. You guys, that's what you go with. You never have a conversation with these people. You just want to go on somebody else saying. And so what end up happening is we never know for ourselves. We just going off of what somebody else says. And so when they push certain agendas, you only going off the agenda. You're not even going off who the person is, what the person stands for. And we even in the church, we got church that's pushing in this Supreme Court race. But if you ask them why you voting for this person, they can't even tell you. They can't tell you one thing. And then if you say, what do a Supreme Court judge do? They can't answer it. If you ask them, what do an automatic person, a common council person supposed to do? They can't tell you. If you ask them, what a school board, what's the job of somebody that's on a school board? They can't tell you, but they will just vote for whoever somebody tells them to vote for because they don't want to do the homework themselves to figure out who should I vote for? And why should I vote for this person? And what do we have in common, me and this person? And how this person, my children, are going to benefit from this person? And how is this going to protect what I believe in? Because right now, we don't have that. We don't have that at all. And so when we look at what's going on, not just in the political arena, but the school board, our cities, our state, how we do business, you got people that will compromise and say what they think you want them to say, but they won't stand on the truth. I had a meeting with a lady. Let me put my Steelers so y'all can see my Steelers. I want y'all to see them Steelers. There you go. Die hard Steeler. Go Steelers. Yeah. So there was a lady I had a meeting with. It was about a 3-hour meeting. She was a progressive. And we had a conversation. We started talking. And she asked me how I felt about abortion. I told her I don't believe in abortion. And I said the same thing I said to you guys. I said, but if I had my way, I'll make a woman go to 2 consultations before she get that abortion. One, she would have to talk to a woman who mind it messed up, who's trying to figure out what that baby would lose. Will God forgive me? I mean, all the guilt that comes with that. And 2, I will make them sit there and watch an abortion before they can get an abortion. And so they'll know exactly what's really going on. And so those are the things that I would say I would do. Everybody else is not like me. So I told her how I felt. And then I found out she don't believe in abortions either. But what she said was a woman should be able to make the choice. She don't believe in abortion. So we sat down and we had a nice conversation about that. She says, well, what about homosexuality, same-sex marriage? I said, the law is already made. I can't change that law. I said, but what I will tell you is this. I love the person. I hate the sin just like God loved the person, hate the sin just like he loved a murderer, hate the sin. It's not my job to love. As mayor, I have to be mayor for everybody. I will make sure they're safe. I will make sure they have opportunity like everybody else. I said, but what I won't do is make a law for somebody's bedroom. Anything immorality, I will not make a law for immorality. That's just who I am. She okay with that. She agreed with me as well as that. And so the more time passes by, most people will not do anything. Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, J. Rod. You're absolutely right. And so once it knock on your door, when things start to happen and it knocks on your door, now you ready to fight. Now you ready to get into into the fight. And then you got some that got into the fight and they took it so far to the left. But I ain't gonna go there right now. But they went too far. And so she asked me about homosexuality. She asked me, I told her I could not make a law for that. Um, I'm not going to sit there and tell you that I'm allowed, as mayor, I'm going to allow a pride fest flag to fly over the city. I would not do that. I cannot do that. So we talked about that. We talked about health issues, mental health issues. I mean, we talked about a lot and we found out that we had a lot in common and we was able to respect the things that we didn't have in common. We was able to respect each other on how they feel. And so when we look at this thing, we have to look at it for what it really is. And we need to just tell people where we stand. Whether you like where I stand or not, we should be able to respect each other where we stand. If you don't stand where I stand, I still got to respect you at the end of the day. God told me to love everybody. I might not like your ways. You might not like my ways, but I got to love you. That's just the bottom line to that. I might not, you might not, I might not. That's okay. But the thing that I love the most of everything is at the end of the day, I'm still going to be the same person that you met me from day one that you met me. And nobody that met me can tell you I changed. Nobody that met me can tell you I am different today than I was from day one they met me. Blessing, bro, we got to get together so I can get you your shirt. I got your shirt. We got to get together as soon as possible. So give me a call and let me know what's a good day for you. But nobody ever met me can tell you that I am not the same person that that I was when they first met me. They might tell you I'm a little more crazy because I tell people that all the time. I ain't got it all, but they would tell you I'm consistent in who I am, and I'm always going to be this person. Okay, sir. But they'll tell you I never change. I never would change. I never not be me. I don't know I don't know how to be anything else but me. And so what I stand for, I stand for. Win, lose, I stand for it. No matter what, whether you like me or not, I'm still standing. I'm consistent. I've been a diehard Steeler fan since 1969, and I'm still there. I don't change. Still a nation. I just had to throw that in there. But you guys, one of the things that we have to understand is people are looking for consistency. People are looking for integrity. People are looking for men and women that will that be true to their own word. And so as we look at everything that's going on, the church has flip-flopped. We have started to say things that is not of God. We're starting to do things that's not of God. We're starting to compromise with things that is not of God. And when you go to the political arena, you can go in that arena and stay the same. You can go in that arena and keep your values and your morals, and you can go in that arena without being afraid to be you. The only way it changes you if you're not confident in who you are. You don't have to compromise. You don't have to allow people to do anything. Oh, I knew that was coming, J Rod. I knew that they need to get some momentum. The transgender, they need to get momentum. Because it's funny because now I'm starting to see even on TikTok where there are some men and women that's living the gay lifestyle is now speaking out against transgenders. And so and I was shocked to see that. And I was like, wow, I didn't know they would speak out against them or they would say something. And that shooting, I knew they was going to take that to another level. I knew that they was going to use that as more fire for their rallying cry. And it's sad. It's really, really sad that they are they're doing that. And so my thing is I'm praying that the scales will come off a lot of people's eyes to see what's going on is wrong, to see. My thing is this, because they say, there's a mistake in all of this. When a man goes into a woman, he releases 500 million sperm cells. 500 million sperm cells, and you the only one hit the egg. God did not make a mistake. God did not make a mistake. 500 million to one, and that's a mistake? Not at all. Not at all. I don't believe that for nothing in the world. I do not believe. Yeah, they want to justify the action, but you know what? If it was the other way around and somebody else did it, then what they would have done is says, now we are victims and we're being attacked. So I mean, these things we have to stop. And hey, Patty, it's good to see you. These things has to stop, to the fact that we got to stop allowing people to use certain things and then say they're victims. Because there's no victim in that. That's just something that is happening. That's something that was plotted. It was something that was premeditated. It was something that was wrong. It was really, really wrong. So I'm also praying for the families of everybody that lost their life, even the transgender that lost the life. I'm praying that that God will have mercy on their souls. I'm praying that the families can be comforted by God, that God will heal the families. I'm praying that People eyes will the scales will come off their eyes, that they will see that the next thing that they try to do and they try to push is they can see it's a smoke screen and it's something bigger than what they're putting in your face. So I'm praying that a lot of things that will be different than what it is right now. And so when we look at it for what it really is and what it really stands for, um, uh, so I think that we have to really, as a community, we have to just come together, pray, show love, educate, um, and be there for one another. Because what's going on is just sad right now. Exactly. Nobody wants to talk about long terms effect of having that abortion. As a pastor, I have talked to women that had abortion and they feel guilty. They don't think God loved them. They don't think God will forgive them. They don't want to forgive themselves. So it's a lot that goes with that. And people need to know that there's a lot that goes with that. But they don't want to talk about those long term um, effects. There was a gentleman, I'm going to find his name. I'm gonna find his I'm gonna find his name and I'm gonna find his recording of his testimony, and I'm going to put it on the show where he testified that when he was a little kid, his grandmother wanted a granddaughter, so she put him in a dress. His uncle molested him. Then when he got in his teens, he ended up with a sex change, which messed his mind up. Then he got saved and gave his life to the Lord. Then he had another sex change to put it back to his original state. And now he's married to a woman and everything in that nature. But I want people to hear his testimony on how it affected him as a child when adults start to mess with the children's mindset. I mean, we need to look at the long-term effect that is going to have on a lot of people. And the problem that it is we don't want to have those conversations. We don't want to share with them what's really going on. We don't want them to, we don't want them to know. I mean, that's how it was when I remember I was at I remember I was getting ready to go in the military with the buddy act or the buddy something. It was me and two of my friends. It was three of us getting ready to go to the military, and the recruiter that recruited us never told us anything about boot camp. All he told us was, because he was like, what y'all interested in? Y'all know we was horny teenagers. We was only interested in women. And what did he do? He said, you can go to Hawaii, you can go to Japan, you can go to Italy, you can go to Germany, and there are some beautiful women over there, and those women love men's in uniform. And that hooked us. Never told us what we was going to do in boot camp. Never told us the things we got to go through to get to Hawaii, to get to Italy, to get to Japan, to get to Germany. So my brothers who been there, who went through it, said to us the day before we was to swear in, he says, and sign the paper, sign on the dotted line. He said to me, let me show you what you're going to go through. Let me show you what you're going to go through in boot camp. And I said, okay. And he went and got all his friends, all the friends that he had. He went and got them. They came back, all that went to the military. They came back and he said to me, you ready? I said, yes. He said, all right, attend hut. And me and my friends, we stood at attention. Like whatever he gonna do, we can handle it. And we stood in attention and he got in my face and he started cussing me out, called me every name but a child of God. I mean, he was talking crazy to me. I mean, he was so close in my face, his spit hit my face. And when his spit hit my face, I snapped and I pushed him. And they said, oh, we got one. And they all surrounded me and they started hollering and they started yelling at me. And I started swinging. They jumped back and they laughed and say, you are not ready for the military, young man. And then they started telling us the stories that you got to go through in boot camp and getting up early in the morning, doing push-ups and doing extra push-up if somebody mess up. And told me if you mess up, they got what's called a blanket party where they put the blanket over you and beat you with boots. And I mean, they was telling me all kind of stuff. And then my brother told me about how he went AWOL and he ended up doing 30 days hard labor, breaking rocks with a sledgehammer in the sun in San Diego. And when they told me that, what I was going to go through, I knew mentally I was not ready to go to the military. Mentally, I wasn't ready. And I didn't go. But if my brother then wouldn't have told me what I was going to go through in the mindset that I used to have when I was a young man, I would have been messed up. I would have been messed up big time. Because the mindset that I had back then, you ain't touching me, you ain't talking to me crazy, you ain't hollering at me. And the moment I signed that paper, I would have been a property of the military. And so my mindset wasn't right. So I'm glad they told me what I was going to go through before I got to Hawaii, before I did all that other stuff. And the thing about it, I am so grateful to them for telling me because I knew me and I knew I'd have been in trouble. Because once you sign up, ain't no I quit. It's not no I'm going home. Forget this. It ain't like you can walk away from it like you walk away from a job. So when we're talking about a person having an abortion, I think they should see what they're going to go through after that abortion. I think they need to talk to women whose mind had already been messed up and they feel guilty on a daily basis. They feel guilty, and every time they see a baby or every time they see a little kid having a birthday party that's 1 year old or 3 years old, wondering what their baby would look like at that time. I mean, it's so much that goes on. And so I think if we would talk about the long-term effect of anything, I think people would think twice on a lot of things, not just abortion. I heard, I think it was Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock. But I believe it was Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle says he is pro-life. He is pro-life because of his daughters. And then he says, and then if sometimes it all depends. If I support pro-choice, he says, but I will support pro-choice. If you want to be a baby killer, then go ahead and be a baby killer. And when he said it, I looked at the face of those in the audience. When he was saying the word abortion, they was okay with it. They didn't have a problem with him saying the word abortion. But when he used the word baby killer, you should have saw their face. Their whole demeanor was like, wow, did he just say that? And so, it all depends on how you look at it. You got people that just use the word abortion, and then you got people that use the word baby killer. And so, I mean, it's a lot going on that we just got to look at and see. But don't allow abortion to be the smokescreen for what's really going on and everything else they want to do. When the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, all they said was we overstepped our boundaries. We're sending it back to the states, and every state make the decision themselves. That's all it did. It didn't mess with women's rights. It didn't mess with women's right to vote. It didn't mess with women's right to run for office. It didn't mess with anything about a woman. All it said was we're going to send that decision back to the states, and every state will address it on their own, because every state is a nation by itself. And so when we look at this thing and we understand and we see what's going on, state by state, need to make decisions. And anytime you move morals out of the way and you become immorality, and immorality starts to run wild, you got to understand and realize when you open that door for immorality, you open that door for everything. Everything comes with immorality. This is why pedophiles are no longer called pedophiles. They're called MAPs, minor attractive person. So when you open that door for immorality, I have seen that. I have seen women who have. I just had this very discussion. My question was to this person: question to this person was, if a pregnant woman was to get murdered, why is it then it becomes double homicide? Oh, J-Rod, that is very good. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking down, so y'all forgive me for that one. But you know what, J-Rod? That is very, very good. Very good. If a woman is pregnant and somebody murder her, they're being charged with double homicide. But if a woman that's pregnant and get an abortion, it's not murder, it's just an abortion. That's a good question, J-Rod. I want to see everybody that's on here. I would love to see your comments on this one. What do you think? Y'all share with me on this one. J-Rod, that deserves some music. Wait a minute, what's going on? My music, my sound effects. I gotta fix that now. I got a lot of work to do. But J-Rod, that's very, very, very good. Let me see what people gonna say. Yes, that's the new term for pedophile. MAP, M-A-P, minor attractive person. And let me tell you why it's like that right now. Everybody is now getting their rights. Same-sex marriage, they got their rights. Transgender, they're getting their rights. So, what they're saying about pedophiles is you can't call them a pedophile because they have the right to fall in love with whoever they want to fall in love with. So if they're attracted to a minor, they just attracted to a minor. They can't help it that they attracted to a minor. So when you open that door, J-Rod, get the gold star for that. So when you open that door for immorality, Everything is open. A person, a lady married her dog. I saw a wedding where a lady married her dog. So immorality, when you open that door, you don't get to pick and choose which immorality walk through the door of immorality. Everything comes through those doors of immorality. So, and I don't believe that anybody, whatever you do in your own bedroom, that's between you and that person and God. We should not have to make a law for what you do in your bedroom, because we don't need to know. It's something that you doing as an individual, and if that's you, that's you. You don't need to know. I'm not going to go to court because I might like a position and I want to make it legal, but I'm not going to go to court and say, Your Honor, can you please allow this to be legal, or tell a state representative, can you make this a law that this is the only way that we all can have sex? Or no, what you do in your bedroom is your own business, but we don't have to change law to make everything that's immorality to just go around everywhere, because now now the pedophiles is coming for their rights. So if a pedophile fall in love with your 3-year-old daughter or your 3-year-old son, they're going to fix it where they don't get charged. Why? Because they are minor attractive person. They're attracted to minors. And I know this probably sounding far-fetched to you, but that's the reality of things. That's the reality of things when you start to do the things that they do. That's like in California, a 19-year-old boy can have sex with a 9-year-old boy and not get charged. All he got to do is get the boy to say yes. And if you go up to that little boy and say, you want to play my Xbox 5? And the little boy say yes, he's okay, I need you to do this first. And he do it because he wants the Xbox 5, then he's not being charged because he got that 9-year-old consent. It has to be in a 10-year gap. So when you start to look at this stuff and we start to allow it to be what it is, we're going to lose out as individuals because we allow it. We're allowing them to do the things to us that they want to do. We're allowing them to say the things that they want to say. And guess what? It is all our fault. Let's see. Ask yourself why they're trying to normalize this behavior. I believe I have the answer, and that is this crap goes all the way to the top. You're absolutely right. You're right. It does go to the top. Look in Milwaukee County, they had a judge who had child pornography, and he was working in children court, and he had child pornography on his computer. It goes all the way up. We got to get to that place where we look at this stuff and we address it for what it really is. And until we do that, we're going to always have issues. We got to stand up for what's right. We need to fix our cities, our counties, our state, our nation. And it's not going to take a party, it's going to take a people. It's not going to take a party, it's going to take a people. Because why? We're finding out on both sides there are so much immorality going on And sometimes they don't say nothing about it until it comes out. And then they be like, oh yeah, we know. Well, we're gonna have to use him as a scapegoat. We asking you to resign. We asking you to get away from us. We're not having anything else to do with you because of what you've done. Now it's coming out publicly. Well, they do work for us. We just got to know they work for us. And so we got to hold them accountable. But what do accountable look like? What would it look like to hold elected official accountable? Because you know what? We really ain't hold them accountable. We put them in office and we leave them alone. So what would it look like to hold them accountable? What would it look like for them to know and understand and to realize that we are the boss? What would that look like? Because we haven't really done it. So what would it look like? What would it look like if we sit there with them and we send them to Madison and we send them to Washington and we send them to City Hall with the people agenda? What would that look like? And we let them know you only there to push our agenda. Anything else, we got to deal with you. And we will deal with you by removing you. So what would that look like? Can you imagine? Can you imagine what that'll look like if we hold them accountable, letting them understand and realize the power's in our hands? What would that look like? That would be very interesting to really, really see. That would be so interesting that they wouldn't worry about somebody removing them from a committee. They won't have to worry about somebody removing them from a committee. They wouldn't have to worry about anything. So only thing they would have to worry about coming back with the report to the people that they did exactly what the people requested. And that's the part we need to get to. That's a place we need to get to in local government, as well as state government, as well as federal government. And we can practice that on the local level. We can practice that on the local level so that we'll know what it looked like. Yes. So taking time to pay attention. You're absolutely right. And the thing about it is, you don't see the problem is this. You work a job. That boss is never just going to let you work a job for 4 years and not critique anything you do, not say anything that you're doing, whether you're doing it right or wrong. If you're doing it wrong, they'll know because you'll be gone, and you'll be gone real fast. The people as a whole, we put people in office. They swear to defend the Constitution, and you don't even know if they ever read the Constitution. You don't even know, do they even know what's in the Constitution? We just put them there, watch them tell a lie, and then they make a law that goes against the Constitution. I don't know what that one meant, J Rod. That's just blank. So, oh, I see it on my phone now. Okay. So we the people are the ones that got to get up. We the people are the ones that got to start paying attention, start making a list. You know what's the biggest problem with um, doing the event of Black Lives Matters? You know what the biggest problem with that was? That the people that was protesting Black Lives Matter didn't even know what they wanted. That's why they didn't get anything. All that protesting, all that rioting, all that burning and breaking the windows, all of that. And then you say, okay, what do you want? And they didn't even know. And they didn't get anything. And why? Because they didn't want anything. We vote people in office and you don't get anything. Why? Because you don't want nothing. You just want them in office. Milwaukee got the first black mayor. What the black community get? Nothing. Why? Because they didn't want nothing. They just wanted the first black mayor. Milwaukee got the first black county executive. What the black community get? Nothing. Why? Because they didn't want nothing. They just wanted the first black. We got the first black. We had the first black everything. Everybody's talking about let's make history. But what are you getting? Nothing. Why? Because there's nothing you want. The black community is no better in the city of Milwaukee today because we got a black mayor, we got a black county executive, we got the first black mayor, we got the first black county executive, we got the first black women sheriff, we got a black sheriff, we got a black city attorney, we got black congresswoman, black state senators, black county supervisors, black aldermen, black state representatives. And what do the black community have? Nothing. Why? Because they only wanted black faces. They got nothing. They complain about the lead, and they made so much noise about the lead until the federal government gave them some money, and you ain't heard nothing else about the lead, and the lead is not even fixed. Interesting. And so yep, well, he did that too. So you got all these things, but you didn't get it. Oh, and you got a lot of blacks on the county, on the school board. Still, our children can't read. Still. Oh, J Rod, I already know you probably be sitting in my office every other day, but and it's good because I want you to hold me accountable. Now I'm saying this, I'm saying this for a reason. I'm saying this because of the fact that they don't want. I mean, we are trained not to ask for anything. We're just trained to vote folks in office and just leave them. And we haven't got anything in our communities. The water is messed up. They haven't fixed it. We need to get some testers here to test the water to see how deep, what's the lead level in our water. We had 53206. We had a movie made about 53206. And I know if the movie was made, some money came in that area, but 53206 is not changed. Not changed at all. And so when we start to look at this stuff for what it really is, for what it really, really is, let's see. for what it really is, then we'll be able to do some things for 3 years when I. You know what? We need to be at those meetings. And every meeting, they need to see your face so they can ask you, so they know your name and they know that you're watching them. But if they don't know you watching, if they don't know that you're going to hold them accountable, if they know you're not saying anything and you're not going to say nothing, then they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. They might do just enough so you can vote for them again. Do that sound familiar? And what do I mean by sound familiar? Most people do just enough not to get fired. They will do just enough work not to get fired. They ain't going to go beyond that. They're not going to do anything extra, but they will do enough just not to get fired. And so when we start to look at this thing and we start to understand that you got to know what you want first. So when you understand what you want, then you will be able to go in and demand from your aldermen, demand from your sheriffs, demand from your mayors, demand from your county executive, demand from your school board. I watched a TikTok the other day, and I don't remember what city it was in, but the mayor of this city came to a school board meeting, introduced himself as the mayor, which I'm sure they already know, but he wanted it for the record, introduced himself, told them, I already talked to a judge. You guys got two choices. Resign, or I'm pressing charges for child pornography being in the school library. And he got up and walked away. He said, you got two choices. Resign, or I'm pressing charges. We need to stand up like that as well. We need to let them know we're not playing no more. We're not allowing you to do anything else the way you've been doing them. That is over with. And this is why we got to stand strong. This is why we got to hold them accountable. This is why we got to sit down and say, okay, what do we want? We want a safer community. Okay, let's put that down. What else you want? We want better service. Okay, put that down. What else you want? We want to be able to be a city that's business friendly so everybody can come in and get a job. Okay, what else you want? I mean, you got to name some stuff. And then as a community, as one, as we come to the middle, now we sit down and say, okay, what's the game plan? How do we reach this? How do we reach this? How do we reach this? And then grade us on what you expect from us. But if you don't expect nothing, you ain't getting nothing. If you don't expect anything, you're not going to get anything but lip service. If there's crime, you might hear us say enough is enough in front of the cameras, but that's all you get. You're not going to get anything else because you don't expect anything else and you don't demand anything else. But we got to change some things, and we got to do things differently, and we got to do things better. We have to. It takes all of us. We have to make it better. We have to get up and do something. We have to. It takes all of us. Each and every one of us. Enough is enough. Enough putting leaders in because of the color of their skin, because of their sex, because of their gender, because of all that dumb stuff. What we need to put them in office for is somebody that has a heart for the community, has a heart for the city, has a heart for the state, have a heart for the nation, that is going to do things that is going to rock the boat and turn the ship around. We cannot continue the way we're going. The way we're going. And on April 4th, everybody that didn't vote, you need to make sure you can take them to vote. You need to make sure that they get there. And you need to tell them who to vote for, but you need to be able to say why. Don't just say vote for this person. You know, my biggest pet peeve when it comes to voting, is this. When a person says, I need you to vote for this person because they're conservative. What else do you know about them? They're just a conservative. What else do you know about them? I don't know nothing else. I just know they're conservative. Or I know they're liberal. What else do you know? I don't know nothing else. I just know they're liberal. Those days is over. I found out that one of the people that everybody is giving praise to right now, and they idolize this guy, and they really support him, and they really gung-ho, and they get excited when he get up and speak and everything. And I found out he was a wife beater. I found out that he beats his wife. And I'm sitting there like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, wow. So here it is, a conservative that everybody is excited about, will spend money to watch him speak and everything, and he's a wife beater. He does domestic violence. But people don't know because they won't look it up. They just be like, oh, he's great. Really? We don't pay attention to nothing. We don't look at them as a person. We just look at them as a title: conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat. But if you go in and look at their life, you'll find wife beater, cheater, drunk. Look how many congressmen got so many charges. Look how many. I think it was J-Rod sent it to me, or somebody sent it to me, and I was watching it, and they started naming all the stuff that was going on, and they thought it was NBA players or NFL players, and it was our elected officials up in Washington, D.C. They got a lot of things on them, but you know what? We don't take time to know the person, and that's how come we lose out, because we don't know them or what they really stand for, and that's how we lose out. That is how we are messed up. Know the person. Know the person. You know how funny this is? If somebody needed a job and they asked you to give a reference, you are leery to allow them to use your name for a job because you don't want them to mess up your name. You are leery. You know how they act. You know how they conduct themselves. You know how they if they're going to get up and go to work. You already know this about them. So if they ask you, can I use your name as a reference to get a job where you work at, you will say, we ain't hiring, because you don't want them to use your name. But you would tell somebody to vote for somebody that you know nothing about. All you know is that we're conservatives and we got to win. All you know is that you're liberal and we got to win. You don't even know these people, but you're giving them a reference. You're letting them use you as a reference. You're going around telling people to vote for them and you know nothing about them. Nothing. Nothing at all. We got to stop allowing things to happen the way they're happening. We got to get to a place where we say, you know what? I need to ask you some questions because I saw something on your character that I need to know. I saw something that I didn't agree with. I saw something that I didn't like. But we don't do that. We don't do that. And if we start telling the truth on somebody, the first thing come out their mouth, oh, see, there you go. He just wanna mess with us. They doing dirty politics. The truth is the truth. That's not dirty politics if I'm telling the truth. It's dirty politics is when I'm lying and it's not true. So when we start to look at everything for what it really is, I need to know you. I need to make sure you are who you say you are. And not only that, I need to make sure you lining up with what I believe. Now, when we was in the barbershop and we was having a conversation, you had some that was Democrats, some that was Republicans in the barbershop. But they all enjoyed their CCW. And then we started talking about Second Amendment. And I was telling the guy, I said, listen, I need me an AR-15. Matter of fact, I need more than one AR-15. And he said, why would you need more than one AR-15? What's wrong with you? Why you need more than one? I said, because of my Second Amendment. And he said, Second Amendment? He said, so I know you're not going hunting with the AR-15. I said, do you know what the Second Amendment says? Do you really understand what the Second Amendment is? It has nothing to do with hunting. I said, I need a couple of AR-15s because just in case the government, because the Second Amendment is allowing me to defend myself against the government. The government might be coming with M16s. At least let me have something close to what they got, my AR-15, so I can defend myself. A little pistol is not going to do anything against an M16. I said, because the Second Amendment says it allows me to defend myself against the government. Government is not coming with a pistol. They got they got M16s. They got some stuff, and we need to have some stuff just for that reason. It's not for no other reason. And until we understand those kind of things, people be like, oh, you don't need, that's a Democrat talking. You don't need no assault rifle. You don't need, I said, most of us grew up in houses where our fathers had many kind of guns, shotguns, 12 gauges, a 30-06. I said, so we understood what it meant to have guns in the house. And we also understood not to touch those guns that was in the house. I said, if we don't educate our children about guns and how to handle a gun, how not to put their finger on the trigger. How about not never pointing that gun at nobody? How about always handle that gun as if it was loaded? How about let's see what J. Rod said? It's because this is still America. That's why. There you go, J. Rod. There you go. And, I mean, you know, we have to, if we start to educate my children, my grandchildren, all was raised with my gun always out, never locked up. I taught them. I would leave. I call her Shirley. She's 38 and special. I will always leave her out. And when I leave her out, I trained them. I taught my kids. I said, listen, this is a revolver. It will not go off and let you put your hand on the trigger. Do not touch. I trained them. Not one time that I have to deal with any of my grandchildren or my son about my gun. I taught them, I trained them. When me and my son would go somewhere, we could be at Walmart and I got my gun on my side and I could see some people getting ready to argue and fight. All I had to say, Jeremiah, what's my rule? What's my rule? And he would come and stand on the side of me. Because I trained him, I gave him a code word, a code phrase that we would use if danger was around. All I had to say was, "What's my rule?" And he'll come and stand right on the side of me. Because when he's on the side of me, he know he's safe, but he also know Daddy gonna protect him because Daddy might have to start shooting. So I trained my son on those kind of things. So I didn't want him to walk around in fear all the time. I needed him to be a kid, but I also needed him to know that Daddy got him protected at the same time. So if we would train our children, we wouldn't have so many accidents. We wouldn't have, hold on, let me, oh, okay, here it is. Let's see. Okay, which one is she under? What committee it is? They stop and say, Patty, do you have a public comment? They know you, Patty. I know they know you. I know they know you ain't playing. I know they know when you believe in something, you're going to line up with it. You're going to stand there and you're going to get it done. Let's see. Gun rights as outlined in the Second Amendment of the Constitution have nothing whatsoever to do with hunting. If you don't hunt back in 1776, you starve to death. No rights to hunt were ever needed. You're absolutely right, Scott. None was needed. And so, but we allowed them to throw that in there because the guy said at the barbershop, he said, you don't need an AR-15 to go hunting. And I was like, really? You really think that's what that's for? It's not what it's for, you guys. And so we just got to come to a point and come to a place where we are really, really standing tall for what we believe in. No more compromising. You know, be bold, swim upstream, stand on what you believe in. Don't let anybody mess you around. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody trick you or manipulate you Know your rights. Know what you're standing for. Well, okay. Now, I understand that what you're saying, Pastor Walker, but let me say this. I believe that if you train your children about guns and gun safeties and all of that, you ain't got to worry about them messing with the guns or doing anything. You put a gun lock on there and somebody breaking your house, how much time you think you have to take that gun lock off? And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a gun lock or nothing like that, but I just wanted to throw that out there. How much time did you have to get that gun lock off before they come in your room? How much time do you have when you got to defend your family? And do you know what the key to that gun lock is? And is it right by your gun, or do you got your gun put up so high that you can't get to it in time? I mean, if we train, we gotta train. We have to train our children. They should not be afraid of the guns, but we gotta train them. See, J Rod, that's why I needed you on the show tonight. That's how you treat me, though. But you know what? Oh, you know they would have liked to been armed. I mean, come on now. I mean, you know, everybody's saying they listen. When we grew up, when most of us grew up, they didn't have no gun locks on those guns. They didn't have gun locks. They didn't lock those. I mean, my stepfather had one where some of his gun was in a case, but far as locking it, and no, somebody come in that house. Uh, I get you, J Rod. I get you. But if somebody come in that house, if somebody, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna be fumbling and trying to get the key, put it in there, remove it, then load it. I'm not doing that's me. I'm going to protect my family to the fullest. Um, everywhere I'm at in my house, if something go down right now, I ain't gotta try to run upstairs to the room and grab something. No, I got one right down here in my office with me. I gotta make sure that I can protect. You gotta train. You got see, even with a toy gun, you gotta train them because if they don't know that they don't supposed to keep their hand on, they shouldn't have their hand on the trigger. If they don't know, you never point the gun at a person. You never point the. If you don't teach this, then guess what? Then that's you for not training your children. This is why we got to train them. And one of the things we're getting ready to do is some gun safety training. We're going to be doing gun safety training, show you how to handle the gun, show you how to unload the gun, load the gun, show you how not to put your hand on the trigger, show you how not to point it at nobody, always assume that it's loaded. I mean, these are some of the simple things that if you teach, my son is 15 years old. No, my son is 15 years old, and I trained him ever since he was a child. ever since he was a child. And if I had my gun on the table and I asked her to bring it down, I don't have to worry about him pointing it at nobody. I don't have to worry about his hand near the trigger. He's always going to walk with his down on facing the floor and bringing it to me. So I don't have to worry about him because of the fact that I'm trained him. Okay. You better watch what you're saying, boy. They're gonna come looking for you in a minute. Exactly. And you know what? Why did the NRA move the issue to honey? That's a good question, but I don't know that answer to that one, and I'm not going to try to act like I know why the NRA did that. All I know is what the Constitution says about the Second Amendment. That's a weak argument. a whole week, J-Rod? That's a whole week? Maybe I'll bring you and Scott on the show. We can have that discussion. But you know, I think that when we start to look at certain things, if we train them. Now, most people, I remember when we was coming up, they trained us if there's a fire in the house, what we supposed to do if there's a fire in the house, right? They tells us, so what do we do when the fire's in the house? You got to have the same thing. What do you do if somebody break in the house? What's the code that we're going to use to tell everybody to be alert? What code are we going to use to say all is clear? What are we going to do just in case this happened? It's called training. Training. Train them. We got to train them. And so I think that you know, one of the biggest things, and you guys, my baby is 5 going on 6, and she's trained already. We just have to do a lot of training to let people know. I can't, somebody break in, I ain't got time to run upstairs to try to find the lock box, unlock the lock box, unlock the gun lock, and then no. I don't have that time. And so we just got a lot of things we just got to train on. We don't train. We don't want to talk about these conversations. And I said this to them in a barbershop. The moment, and it's not going to be easy for them, and we already know, but the moment they take all of our guns, we're going under martial law. And if we go into martial law, then you can expect them to do whatever they want to do to you, to your family. You know, you can forget it. So we have to be protective. We have to understand our rights. We have to make sure that that we do things according. You know, when we started studying the Constitution and we started doing the classes, we found out. I found out that Virginia has a law that if you was caught without your gun, you was fined. If you went to the market and didn't have your gun, you was fined. If you went to church and you didn't have your gun, you was fined. I was like, wow. So you got a fine if you was naked, if you was without your gun. I was like, oh, wow, interesting. So, so when we look at certain things, we have to educate. We have to ask people, what is it that you want? Let's go get what you want. And if they say, I don't know what I want, then we got to help educate them so they can get what they want or what they need. And the biggest problem that we have today is that we're not educating people. We're just telling them what to do. We're not even telling them why they should do it. Most people, we're telling people to vote for Dan Kelly for Supreme Court race. And one of the reasons, the thing that I talked about in the barbershop, because I talked about voting for Dan Kelly, and it was like, well, who is Dan Kelly? I was able to tell them who Dan Kelly was. I was able to tell them I had conversations with Dan Kelly. I was able to tell them I broke bread with Dan Kelly. I was able to tell them he was on my show. I was able to tell them I had some events called the Wisconsin Revival Rally, and he came and he spoke at the event. But not only did he speak at the event, he showed up when he wasn't speaking at the event. So I consider him a friend. So in that process, I could tell them something personal about Dan Kelly than just to say, vote for Dan Kelly. And we should be able to do that against everybody. I believe so. Is it Finland or was it Australia? But I believe so. I'm gonna look it up, and I have an answer on the next show. But I believe so, though. I really, really, really believe so. But you want to be able to say something personal about a person that you're asking people to vote for, not just a vote. Because if they ask you why, you can't do it. People are not going to do it and say, would you vote for someone? I say, why are you voting for them? And they have no answer. And they have no answer. So we really have to act. Why? So we have to ask that question, why? Why are you supporting? We need to know these things so that we can my queen is calling me, so I'm texting her to see if she okay. And so you guys, we got to get to that place. And so as we move forward, right, we got to educate, we got to empower, because there's a possibility, and I hate to say it like this, there's a possibility we might lose the Supreme Court. There's a possibility we'll win the Supreme Court. If we lose it, then we really got to get our act together from a local level and change some things. Because one of the things a lot of people don't know, well, J. Rod, there ain't nobody gonna touch that question. They're not gonna answer that one. They're not gonna answer that one. But I'm with you on that. I want to hear that answer too. And so when we look at this thing, when we look at this for what it really is and what it stands for and all of that, we have to ask ourselves this question. Run sheriff and DA and all. Well, we definitely need constitutional sheriffs in everywhere. Somebody, J-Rod, want to answer for his question. So who's going to be bold enough to answer that question that J-Rod has? I'm going to go back and find it and put it back up. I got to go up and find it, J-Rod, and then I'm going to put it back up. There it is. That's J-Rod question, you guys. And so anybody want to touch that? Anybody want to touch that? I'm looking for someone to touch it. Let's see what he say. The question was just up there. So I just had the question up there. Was you able to see the question, Scott, or do you need me to put it back up? There the question. And so let me see who's gonna touch it. Because we need to ask these kind of questions, but a lot of people don't really want to address them. Okay, I had it up there. I'm gonna put it back up one more time. There it is. That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. But a lot of people ain't gonna want to answer that question. So let's see what kind of answer we get. Okay, here's one. Oh, you're trying to make it bigger on your screen. All right, let me go back and pull it up one more time, and then I'm going to tell you what it says. If a pregnant woman was to get murdered, why then it becomes a double homicide? When a pregnant woman get murdered, why then is it a double homicide? Well, the question was, it had to deal with abortion, because they say it's not an unborn child. Okay, and so if it's not murder killing a baby, then why, when a woman is pregnant get killed, then they charge the person with double homicide? So when a woman have an abortion, it's not considered murder. But when a pregnant woman get killed, they consider that a double homicide. Why? That's a good question. Why is that? Let's see. Oh, so nobody touched that yet. Okay. I'll give y'all a couple of seconds. That's a lawyer's trick. That is a lawyer's trick. If you get caught, what is that? Selling? Okay, what? This may be wrong, but when a person goes to jail, whatever state they're in, they get money. They get money, right? The get money, right? That prison system should be the possibility of they want double to pay because of the longer person spends. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me, Pastor Walker. Trying to understand that. Like if you sell marijuana without a stamp. Okay, y'all confusing me. Y'all gonna have to help me on that. I'm trying to figure y'all out on this one. Y'all got me rubbing my head on this one. What are y'all trying to say? If a woman can have an abortion, it's not considered murder. But when a pregnant woman get killed, it is considered double homicide. Why? That is very interesting to do. So let's see what this lawyers are mostly corrupt. Okay. So okay. So let's go back to the original question. The original question is a woman commit a woman have an abortion and is not considered murder, but a pregnant woman get killed, it becomes a double homicide. Why? Hmm, 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 hmm. Oh, what happened? Hmm. So do anybody else want to try it? or let's see. Okay. I guess it is a tough nut to crack, Gerard. I really think it is. Uh, I think it really, really is. I'm gonna leave that up. Hold on one second. Okay. Now that I'm back, let's see. What did he say? He said, I think it is a double homicide. You kill one more person that somewhere in the system of abortion, Planned Parenthood, or the system of prison system, at the end of the day, some system is going to make a profit. It is sad. Okay, let's see. So this has been very interesting. So we look at this thing and it says abortion is not murder, but if a pregnant woman get killed, it's a double homicide. So y'all came up with some interesting answers tonight. But let's just say this. No matter how you look at it, taking a life is taking a life. It's murder either way it goes. It's no, like J. Ross said, it's no other way to slice it. It is what it is. And because it is what it is, we have to also understand and realize that it's always going to be where moral versus immorality is going to always be the battle. Good versus evil is always going to be the battle. Whether we accept it or not, that's just how it is. And that's something that we need to do as a people to make sure that we are doing things um, in the in the in a way of looking at one another, loving one another, supporting one another, and not allowing us to compromise who we are just because everybody else decides to compromise. I grew up and I remember my mama said, if one person jump off the bridge, do that means you're gonna jump off the bridge too? So just because one person does it and one person says okay, don't mean it's okay. Just because 100 people say it's okay, don't mean it's okay. So stand on your principles. Be bold. Be an agent of change. Help change things. Help change things locally in your state and then in the federal. But it's going to take all of us to come together and do it. Well, you guys, this has been a great time, and my wife came with some caramel cake. She came down, just got in the house and brought caramel cake. So I think I'm finna um eat some caramel cake. Hey, you know what, J Rod? We gotta always have these kind of conversations. And everybody, we don't have to agree. That's the beauty of it. We don't have to agree. We just gotta have the conversation. We gotta respect each other's view on it, but we gotta have the conversation. But if your skin is not tough enough to have the conversations, then just listen and don't make a comment. But we gotta have the conversation. You see how big this is? This thing is going to be eaten before I get off the show. No, I'm just joking. But this is going to be gone real fast. Um, so tune in again, you guys. Um, we're doing volunteering at the Brewers game. Opening day is Monday. Um, we're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday game, and then our next Friday, Saturday, Sunday game. We got 81 games. If you want to come out and help volunteer to help Kingdom Ecclesia raise money for the school that we're working on opening, we would love to have you come down and volunteer at the Brewers game. Help us out. We always looking for volunteer. Okay. I like that in you. I like that in you, J Rod. But we're going to be volunteering, and if you would like to volunteer and help out, you're more than welcome to. If you have a nonprofit and you're trying to raise some funds, or you're a church group and you're trying to raise some funds, or any other group that you want to raise some funds and you want to come down and volunteer, we work side by side with groups, and we give them a percentage so they can help raise money for their cause as well. If you want to be a part of that, you can call us 414 676 0842, 414 676 0842, or you can call 414 899 2688. 414 899 2688. We'd love to work alongside of your group. We have a couple of churches we're working on working with, and we're working with an AAU track team that we're working with. All you need is 6 people from your organization to work to get that percentage. So if you would like to, give us a call. We're getting ready for the Brewer season, and we are looking for volunteers that would love to come down and help out uh and help out um with the games. So give us a call, come down, help Kingdom Ecclesia Academy get off the ground, and let us begin to empower our children to be the next agents of change. So I thank you guys for being with me on tonight. I thank J Rod, Scott, and Pastor Walker for commenting, Patty for commenting. Um, Tyra, I pray that everything is okay up in Lake Mills. I know y'all tornado sirens was going off. So I'm praying to God that you guys are safe in every county that had a tornado watch or warning. We pray for you that you are safe. Also, before we go, I want everybody to put Kelly Wilson in your prayer on your prayer list. She's very good friend of ours, my wife and myself. She's helped with the lieutenant governor campaign. She's on the team for the mayor's campaign and for the Milwaukee Brewers. We just pray that she gets strengthened and that she sit her tail down and just relax. Now, anybody that know Kelly Wilson, y'all know that's going to be hard. So I need y'all to help me. We need to buy some Gorilla Glue, some handcuffs, and make her sit herself down until she's healed. But we pray for her and hoping that she's okay. So again, I thank you guys for being on. This conversation will be on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, and all the other podcast platforms. So please go and subscribe to all of our avenues so we can go to the next level. We just thank each and every one of you for being on with us. Until next week, we love you guys. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, yeah.